The whole compound fell silent that evening. A young girl's cry echoed through the dusty courtyard. "Papa, please, don't do this to me," Chioma begged, her voice shaking like dry leaves in the harmattan wind. But her father looked away. Standing beside him was a thin young man in torn clothes, holding an old sack. His sandals were worn, and his shirt had more patches than fabric. The villagers whispered among themselves, "A beggar? Mr. Emeka wants his daughter to marry that poor boy?" Chioma's stepmother smiled coldly. "Yes," she said loudly. "Today, Chioma leaves this house as the wife of Chima, the poorest man in Obinze." Chioma fell to her knees in disbelief. She didn't know that the poor man standing before her owned an empire worth billions, and the marriage her enemies thought would destroy her life was the beginning of her destiny. Chioma was known throughout the village of Obinze as a quiet, hard-working girl. She had deep brown skin that glowed under the sun and kind eyes that reflected patience and humility. Even as a child, people often said, "That girl carries peace in her heart." But her kindness became her greatest suffering. She had no mother to protect her. Mr. Emeka, her father, was once a respected trader in Obinze. After losing his wife, grief hardened his heart. Instead of protecting his daughter, he allowed his new wife to control the household. Many people in the village whispered, "Emeka used to be a good man until he remarried." Chinyere was beautiful on the outside but bitter on the inside. She disliked Chioma from the first day she entered the house. To her, Chioma was a reminder of the first wife she could never replace. Her voice often echoed through the compound. "Lazy girl, why are you still standing there?" She turned Chioma into a servant inside her own father's house. In another corner of the village lived a strange young man named Chima. People believed he was poor, very poor. He lived in a small mud house at the edge of Obinze and rarely spoke to anyone. Sometimes he ate once a day. Sometimes he did not eat at all. But behind the disguise was a secret nobody could imagine. Chima was not poor. He was a billionaire businessman who owned companies across Africa and Europe. But he had grown tired of women who loved only his wealth. So he came to Obinze in disguise, searching for a good woman who would love him for who he truly was. Obinze village was a peaceful community surrounded by palm trees, wide earth roads, and distant hills. Women woke up early to fetch water from the river. Men carried baskets of yam and cassava to the market. Children ran barefoot across the village square, laughing and playing. At the center of the village stood Mr. Emeka's compound, a large but aging house with cracked walls and a dusty courtyard. This was where Chioma's suffering lived. Before her mother died, Chioma's life was different. Her mother, Adanna, loved her deeply. She braided Chioma's hair under the mango tree every evening. Chioma, she would say softly, never allow the world to remove the kindness from your heart. But sickness came like a silent thief. Within months, Adanna passed away, and the warmth in that home died with her. When Chinyere entered the house as Mr. Emeka's new wife, everything changed. Chioma became the household slave. Every morning, before sunrise, she swept the compound, then she fetched water, then she cooked, then she washed clothes. But no matter how hard she worked, Chinyere always complained. Useless girl, she would shout. You are slow like a tortoise. One afternoon, Chinyere sent Chioma to the market, the weaver, and the farm at the same time. When Chioma returned exhausted, Chinyere slapped her. You took long. Mr. Emeka watched everything and said nothing. One afternoon, Mr. Emeka returned from the market carrying heavy bags. Suddenly, a voice called behind him, Sir, let me help you. It was Chima. The poor young man helped him carry the load to his house. When they arrived, Mr. Emeka looked at the young man carefully. A strange idea formed in his mind. You look strong, Emeka said. Chima nodded quietly. Then Emeka said something shocking. If you work for me for 6 months, I will give you my daughter to marry. Chima froze. My daughter Chioma, Emeka continued. You will receive one meal every day, and after 6 months, she becomes your wife. Chima's heart beat slowly. This was not what he expected, but he looked at the compound. He saw Chioma in the distance, carrying water with tired eyes. Something about her strength touched him, so he agreed. For 6 months, Chima worked like a servant. He cleaned the compound, he repaired fences, he carried firewood, he went to the farm, all for just one plate of food each day. Chinyere mocked him often. So this beggar thinks he can marry my stepdaughter, but Chima remained silent. Meanwhile, Chioma watched everything. She felt pity for him. Sometimes she secretly added extra food to his plate. One night, she whispered to him, Why are you doing this? Chima smiled slightly. Sometimes destiny hides behind strange roads, he replied. 6 months passed. Mr. Emeka called everyone into the compound. It is time to fulfill my promise. Chioma's heart shattered. You will marry Chima today. She cried, she begged, but nobody listened. Chinyere even laughed. Yes, let the poor girl marry the poor man. They deserve each other. The villagers attended the simple ceremony. No music, no celebration, just silence. Chioma left her father's house with tears in her eyes. For 1 month, Chioma lived with Chima in his tiny mud house. They lived simply. Chima treated her kindly. He never shouted. He never insulted her. One morning, he said gently, Chioma, pack your things. We are traveling. She was confused. She asked, traveling to where? Where do you know I want us to travel to? They walked to the city. Then they arrived at a massive gate. Security guards rushed forward and bowed. Welcome back, sir. Chioma's eyes widened. The gate opened slowly. Inside stood a breathtaking mansion. Luxury cars lined the driveway. Servants stood waiting. Chioma turned to Chima in shock. Whose house is this? And what are we doing here? Chima smiled. It is ours. He removed the worn jacket he always wore. Chioma said, it is ours. I don't remember you telling me you have anything. You are just a poor guy that can hardly feed in Obinze. What actually happened? Underneath was an elegant suit. Chioma, he said softly, I am not poor. I came to Obinze to find someone who would love me without knowing my wealth. Tears filled her eyes. All the sufferings you endure, I saw your kindness, he continued, and I knew you were the woman I was searching for. Chima kept his promise. He treated Chioma like a queen. She never had to do anything in the house. There are maids in her beck and call, people that wash clothes for her, people that cooks for her, even people that serve her food. She was treated like a queen that she was truly is. Soon they traveled to London, where his international companies were based. Chioma received education, respect, and happiness she never imagined. Meanwhile, news reached Obinze. Ah, someone went to Mr. Emeka's compound and said, you've not heard? Chioma is living in London now. The guy we all thought was poor is a billionaire. She married a billionaire. Mr. Emeka and Chinyere were shocked. They cried. They looked for ways to get Chioma's contact. And when they finally did, they blamed the devil. They asked for forgiveness. But deep down, they knew the truth. All wickedness to Chioma was done intentionally. Their wickedness had cost them their daughter. Chioma never returned to their house. She only said, I forgive you, because without your wickedness, I wouldn't be where I am today. I would have been in the village just like every other girls in the village. The elders of Obinze later said, never judge a person by your eyes. And another elder added, those who mistreat the innocent may one day watch them rise behind their rich, because destiny has a strange way of rewarding the humble and exposing the wicked. If you truly love these stories, please subscribe and watch to the end, and always come to my channel to watch interesting African folk tales. Thank you and God bless.